and add this to the canvas for Stephanie, who's not here right now. We were talking about the two sections we were going to lecture on last week. That we did a little bit of it, but I want to do it more formally. One is the domino model, and the other is argument by analogy. I'm going to talk about that in greater detail in just a minute. The domino model is very, very simple. It's just a model of how persuasion happens. And that is that a message is received and that message is then processed by the person. So the first domino is the message received. The next one is it's processed by the person. The person has to process it and think about it to some degree. There has to be a recipient response to the message. If the message is processed and then there's no response, no persuasion will take place. Cannot happen. So there's a response, the recipient responds to the message, and then there is either, and this book says behavior modification, but some people in talking about the domino model would say that there is, could be attitude, could be belief, or could be behavior modification. There is some sort of change within the receiver that reflects the fact that persuasion has taken place. It's a very simple model. The second aspect of this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this, is argument by analogy. I'm not sure if you were there when I talked last week, whether it was with you or with Stephanie, where we were talking about argument by analogy, where you compare something to something else and argue that if it worked there, it will work with us. You're saying really that by analogy, if they did this here, that it would work for us if we did it here. This has been done a lot because of the fact that Sweden decided to do this herd immunity. There are people who argue that's what we should have done. Well, maybe. I can't exactly address that. But when we use an analogy to support the claim, that's reasoning by analogy. There are two types. There's a literal analogy. And they say, if this school has this policy and they're doing this, and look how well that's working for them, we should do that at this school. That's a literal analogy. A more figurative analogy would be that someone who is that person is a successful business person, therefore they would be a successful politician. Maybe, maybe not, but that's the argument that's done. It's sort of an analogous situation where you're comparing how good they are at business, saying they would be good as a politician, and then that becomes your figurative analogy, where it's not an exact analogy, but it's more figurative. The big thing is that there be at least something that's comparable. I think I gave the example of people arguing about getting rid of the drinking age in the United States because France and Germany and Italy don't have a drinking age. And their rate of alcoholism is lower than in the United States, and we have a drinking age. Another place this has been argued is gun control. In Australia, they enacted gun control, and law-abiding citizens had to turn in a lot of their guns, and the rate of violent crime went up. Well, that's one argument, arguing we should have gun control. In the other direction, people talk about England and the fact that England's had strong gun control for a long, long time, and they have a lower rate of violent crime than we do, meaning we should have stronger gun control. Or the other one argues that we shouldn't have it because look what happened in Australia. Oh, by the way, those stats leveled out, by the way, in Australia. The initial up spike in violent crime sort of leveled back out, and it's right where it was before now.
Oh, wow.
Which would then, two group might say, well, they had an upswing, so that's bad. And the other group would argue, well, there's fewer guns out there, and even though the violent crime is about the same, that's good still. And what most people would say is that would argue against gun control because there was initially an upswing, and even after it came back down, it really did not lower violent crime by having the gun control. So I don't know. I believe in the Second Amendment, but at the same time, I don't believe having gun control laws necessarily violates the Second Amendment. So anyway, have you been thinking about a topic for your argument by analogy?
Not that much, because I have been working on my thesis, so I haven't been thinking about it that much.
Okay. What's your thesis about, if you don't mind me asking?
About the what factors impede the facilitation of communication between college students and their parents.
Okay, very interesting.
And I'm really trying to get my surveys and stuff out. So I've been working on that because I'm a senior, and it's
okay. Yeah, I actually was invited, even I wasn't full time. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even an official hire at the time, I don't think. I was asked to sit in on Kiana Brown's senior thesis defense and also on, oh shoot, Bryce Gober, I think it was. I sat in that as well. And they both went well. They both went very, very well.
That's good.
This is the speech that we're supposed to do on Wednesday, but I'm going to go ahead and say now for you and for her, and I'll let Stephanie know this by message, or I'll do a message to both of us. And we're going to move this speech to Monday, give you a little more time to prepare it. Well, actually, it won't be Monday because that's Labor Day. We'll move it back 1 week exactly. How's that sound?
That's
This is short. Remember, this is I did this one short on purpose. That way you have a very simple argument to form, 2 to 3 minutes. That's it. Okay?
okay.
As a matter of fact, the area that you're talking about, you could do something where maybe there's something that your parents did that helped you a certain amount. And you can say, well, here's how my parents handled this situation. And if you look at how I've become and grown as a young lady, it's clear that it was very, very good for me. Therefore, by analogy, all parents should do this.
Okay. Okay.
That's one potential area to explore in terms of a potential speech like that. So anyway, getting kind of a glitch on my virtual background. I'm going to turn it off. I don't know. You do know you can add a virtual background, correct?
I don't even know how to add it. I've seen a lot of my professors do it. And
if you see down where it says video on the bottom left, stop video, there's a little button on the bottom left of your screen to stop video.
Oh, choose virtual background.
See that? And then there's an arrow, yeah, and there's choose virtual background. You can pick any photo on your computer, and you can make that your virtual background. But that one didn't work well.
No, why not?
Sure, well, you want to make sure as you choose your virtual background, going back and looking at that, I'm opening mine up just so I can tell you. At the bottom, don't click on I have a green screen.
Oh.
Okay, just put mirror my video. Click on mirror my video, not I have a green screen.
To use virtual? Oh. That means I would have to get my computer would have to be another version.
Take up there. If you take the button off, no, you can have virtual background. You should still be able to do it. Just don't click on I have a green screen. I don't have a green screen.
It says your Mac OS version needs to be 10.13 or higher.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's okay. I don't know what that means.
I do know that in conferences that I've had, some people's, for some computers it works better than on others, and I don't know exactly why. So I'm going to stop the recording, the lecture part.